crab. Okay, just a quick video. Working on my Atlas 6x6 with rear steer. Because this is so long, the back axle turning sometimes gets you into trouble. It just swings out. Anyway, I just thought it would be nice to be able to turn off. And I realized that the channel 3 on the FMS radio, it's just a 2 position. I plugged in a servo to channel 3 and pushing this, it goes to full lock. Realized that if I could do the servo switch mod, an old servo, the gears are stripped out, where the motor lead was soldered in a wire. I've got it hooked to my multimeter right now, and the focus is way off. But anyway, push the channel 3 button, it actually switches the polarity that was going to the motor. I've taken that positive lead and running it to the power lead on the servo, disconnecting, actually I already did it, pulled the power pin on the servo plug, taking the positive lead from the switch and feeding it to the servo, and the servo still getting ground and signal from the receiver. But when you push the channel 3 switch, it changes the positive to a negative, and obviously servo goes off because it's no longer got positive lead. I can show you here. Turn on the car, receiver. We're negative 5.65. Pushing the channel 3 button. Keep my hand off the throttle. That's not working. Plug the motor so that doesn't happen again. Okay, and then this new little servo gutted is plugged into channel 3. And then I push the channel 3 button on the remote, changes it to positive, negative, positive. When it's on positive, obviously the servo will accept input because I've got the motor unplugged, everything's wigging out. So if I take positive lead from the modified servo, connecting it to, where is it? There it is. This is the power lead that was in the plug. I pulled it out. I'm going to put the meter back on there so you can see the polarity change. Frame, and you can't see the front wheel. There it is. Okay, I have full normal steering. Hit the channel 3 button. Now I'm only front wheel. So I can, if I need to turn sharp, I'm making a hit this. But what you can also do is, if you need to crab, turn it to the direction you want to go, turn it off, and it stays there. There, that's more visible. I'll turn it off. Now so I could crab. So here I am grabbing along, turn the servo on, and it'll go to regular steer. So I have control. I mean, it's playing with this button. What I'll probably do, let me move you. And what I'll probably do is let me turn this off. And let me turn this off. Is open up the transmitter, look at this switch. So there's something I can do to put another switch here that's easier to get to. It's a thumb control, which I'd like to open it up anyway because I want to put a stop. A lot of my controllers, I end up putting a screw on the, you can see this one, got a screw through there that contacts the switch or the trigger. Just so I don't go full bore and reverse, because the travel's so limited. And this one's even worse. You just barely touch reverse and the thing launches. But moving the switch, put somewhere that's easy to get to. I'm not sure where. This controller's pretty small. Anyway, bottom line is using a stripped out SCX24 servo, taking the motor out, soldering lead. Actually, all I need is the lead for the positive. I don't need the negative. Running that positive lead from this servo switch to the plug that feeds the back servo. With channel 3, I have complete control. Although awkward, I have complete control of the rear steer. I can turn it off, on, and can turn it off if I want to crab in the left. I turn the wheel to the left, turn the servo off, it'll stay there, and I can crab walk. Turn the servo back on, it'll go straight, vice versa. Pretty cool. For zero. Opening up an old servo and pulling out the motor and soldering a positive lead to it, plugging it into channel 3, using channel 3 to switch the polarity, which changing the polarity from positive to negative turns off power, obviously, to the back servo. So when I'm climbing up a ledge, especially because this thing's so long, when that back end will start swinging and you're not really far enough ahead to keep from driving off stuff. But for this guy, this is pretty awesome. I looked online forever and I could not find where anybody had done this, and I wasn't sure if it would work, if there would be enough pass-through power to run the servo. I mean, a lot of people do this to control lights. You could hook LEDs to this, be able to turn on and off from your controller pretty cheaply. But I finally found on EQ mod on YouTube a 14-year-old video where he had done this exactly same thing. So I didn't have to risk frying some, because I wasn't sure. I didn't know if that would work. Pretty cool. Anyway, we'll get this wired up and see what happens. Okay, the channel 3 servo switch feeding the back servo. Turn it to full lock, turn the power off. Now that the back is locked in that position, so I can grab. Turn the servo back on, and I have regular steering. Turn the power off to lock the back wheels. The problem in here, I'm in the shop, and it's got this rubber mat, and the center axle is crabbing. Climbing instead of having the back end swing around. You could turn it to crab, lock it. This is going to be sweet. It's rather awkward to control, but it beats full rear steer. Anyway, that's all for this. Got a hole in my radio. So I found these little flat stick-on momentary switch that I'm going to put on the outside. I wanted to put it on the handle, but this radio, the battery compartment slides off, so I'm going to put it on the side. I'll be able to use thumb control, but with the hand that's on the steering wheel. It's just to turn the servo off and on. I already tried it. The little switch that's in the circuit board, it's a momentary. So soldering these leads to either side of that little switch will give me the ability to turn the servo on and off without, usually I have to pull a hand off either from the handle or from the wheel to hit that little switch, and this will just make it a little easier. This is awkward enough without fumbling with that little channel 3 switch on top of the radio. These are pretty cool little switches. Okay, and the switch is mounted. It just has double-sided sticky tape. Wire is going through the hole. And I just need to snake the cable around and then come back and solder it to the circuit board. I give you fair warning on these little radios that the handle slides on. The spring-loaded buttons on these, if they fall out of those things, they're a major pain to get back in. Little metal button with a spring, they slide in the slots, and those pop out, and I did it like 4 times yesterday. Major pain. And the one on the handle, the little release has a spring. It's going to come out. There's no way to keep that one in there. It's not too bad getting back in, but anyway. route this, come back around, strip off the outer heat shrink or whatever this is. Should be in business. Grab straight, normal steering. I can lock it front only. Normal operation, might be hitting it with my thumb here, because to use this you gotta move your hands. It doesn't work. Almost put it up here, and like I said, ideally it would have been right here, but this part of the handle slides off, so it works. A lot easier than the switch. Unfortunately, I can't drive it because I pulled a screw out of the steering knuckle. So I have new knuckle on order. The issue is the Atlas has two are pretty unique. And I ordered a set of balls for the Atlas, but they couldn't find them in the warehouse. So I have another set coming for the Conqueror. I took a double ball and filed it down, tried to make this one. Well, I guess I'm not even in frame. It just didn't leave enough thread. This one inside of here, it goes to the top of the knuckle, and then this one is a long thread. It has a shoulder on it, and then the one that the pan rod fastens to is unique. Like I said, I tried to make one and it just not enough thread, and it just pulled out the threads so it won't stay threaded in there. So when that comes, I'll change out the hub again. But you're gonna have that. I ordered two sets. I think they were like $3 a piece or for a set. So I ordered two sets, so I'll have spares. You break these hubs, you're toast. And nothing else is going to fit. I was hoping with version 2 that more parts would start becoming available, but I don't know that they're really selling that many. And they're still not listed on the FMS site. Anyway,